Soul Brothers.
Well, that's staying in. It is a one-day event up in Colchester. I think it's called COG 2K. And you will notice that I am the only person in the car. I know, heartbreaking. So it's going to be a bit of a different video today. So where is everyone? Well, Steve is spending the day with his family. I know, just selfish. Franco was meant to be coming to this event, however, is unwell. And he's doing the sensible thing of not risking coming and making everyone else sick. We give Franco lots of abuse, but that is the right thing to do. Baz is crushing a 2-day event down in Plymouth or Portsmouth. I never remember which one. As of this recording, he is undefeated, 3-0, played against some very good people. I am, of course, playing Space Wolves today. Very few changes from my last list. The 10-man unit, I've made 2 5-man units, and I got rid of the Primaris Chaplain to put a second captain in. The reason I've done that is the captain does very similar things to the chaplain, I think, but will be able to support the Melter Drop Pod Bomb if I need it to. So we will see how that goes. We've got to go and do some lateral flow tests before we can play, which will be at least we're keeping safe. That's it. I will see you. Oh, I'm playing Tyranids round 1. Against Tyranids round 1. He has a lot of Hive Guard. I really hope that I'm able to shoot them, because if they can hide for the entire game, I'm going to get tabled. It's not going to be fun. Anyway, see you at round 1. So we are here at the 40K store where the event's being held. And the tournament organizer and owner has been really nice to let me come up and show you some of the boards before everyone else gets here. So it's a really nice space, as it is. It is enough room, which is always going to be good. I will be playing on this board first. You'll notice that they're not... So I thought some would be more like this. So your typical ITC terrain. However, they all seem to be themed boards. They are absolutely gorgeous. I like the high Imperial kind of chapel that's going on. Some official GW terrain, which is really cool to see. Yeah, so... And look, there's an ice world over there. It's going to be good. I think this is going to be a nice, interesting day. So yeah, that's really cool. The store, I'm going to go downstairs, there's a bit of a surprise. Apparently, this is Midwinter Mini's local store. And he did a video on a Space Marine. So I'm going to go take some photos with that. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's really cool. I would definitely have one. So, round 1, it is surround and destroy. And Space Marines get to go first. We will have to see what happens. We've got lots of really terrifying things hiding. We need to do some work. Let's see how it goes. This, by the way, is Mark. Say hello, Mark. Woohoo! Hello, Mark. Mark is part of Team Clueless. How you feeling, Mark? Right.
It's round 1, turn 1, isn't it? Let's give it a go.
Let's give it a go. Dream. So that was my turn 1. Mark's now having his turn 1. The Longfangs did quite well. They killed some Hive Guard. I think they killed 4, which was great. I think that's their points back already. And Mark put the others back in reserve, so we don't have to worry about those turn 1. I did lots of advancing, getting quite far up the board. and we will see how it goes. But Gene Stealers are no joke. So, Mark, that was that was game 1. Space Wolves were able to win, and I think it was largely because I went first.
I think going first only helped, and then he was able to do the damage to me. I had to bring up the high guard, which didn't help. I really needed that high guard to shoot the ball through the game. I really only got maybe 2 or 3 activations of the high guard. Pointed out at the start of the game, everything that massively should have game. So that was probably a big factor. I didn't really screen the drop pod that well enough. I think that's probably my big mistake, is letting the drop pod get shots.
Yeah, because not only did I killed like 3 hive guard with it, 4. So I did, like I say, they did enough damage. You know, they got their points back. But it was also then this massive roadblock for your Gene Stealers, and it kind of hemmed that side in. And because we both took Strangle, it just meant it was really hard for you to get onto the middle objectives.
Yeah, I really hope it's. I think when I took Strangle, I realised how much he was going to block my movement back there. It was really hard. I couldn't get around this way, so really the way he got in the middle.
And then when you got 3 Dreadnoughts, you're going to come running through the middle. I had a screen, and then I got like 3 Dreadnoughts sitting behind it. It's going to be really rough to.
Like tell me, I stood the 60-man Gene Stealers, and debated whether I could turn it to crack and get 3d6 advance.
Oh,
I
okay.
really gone for a long charge, and would have had a pretty good chance of succeeding.
Yeah, definitely.
Because then I would have moved into Age of Swarm as well, so it would have better move. I think I should have gone for that play.
Yeah.
I rather one of the advance, I was like, no point.
Yeah. I think because my jump packs, so it is worth saying that in this game, whenever you had a massive multi-damage weapon and I had an invulnerable save, I made that invulnerable save, which made it a little bit easier. But yeah, the terrain, because there is a lot of movement blocking terrain, and obviously jump packs just didn't really care about that, and the jump packs were able to be maneuverable and take the engagements I think I wanted. It was a good game. Mark, you're a wonderful guy. Mark was going to get naked for this channel, but he decided to keep it PG friendly.
Only for this one.
Only.
It was the After Dark segment where,
that's it.
Subscribe and like.
That's it. There we go.
I know the rules.
But no, so thank you so much for that.
Yeah, good game, my fella.
It ended 100 to 68, so still a really strong score for the Tyranids. Just weren't. I think another thing, I don't think I was ever going to be able to take 2 units of Hive Guard on turn 1. So I think maybe leaving them on the field in the back corner out of charges range might have been enough to have an extra round of shooting with them.
Didn't have enough room. Because of the 2 inch board, I went about to.
Okay, that makes sense. Sorry about that. But anyway, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Have a good one. Thanks. Good luck with the rest of the tournament. So that was round 1. Round 1 was really good. I went first, which was quite important. Was able to use a melter bomb to kill some Tyranids, force the Hive Guard to go off until turn 2, which was quite nice. Made lots of charges and was able to just hem back the Tyranids. So we both took Strangle. He scored 0 points on that, so that's really where the game was won. Round 2, it looks like I'm probably playing against Ultramarines. We'll find out after in a second. So this is Matt. Matt is playing for the Sons of Ultra.
Honor and glory!
There you go. We have just, both of us hidden. It's a very similar match. We both have very similar units, except for I'm Space Wolves, he's Ultramarines. Let's see. This is Vital Intelligence. I've rolled a 5. You have rolled a 2. I have to go first. Would you like to redeploy? No, you good? You're right, yeah?
Absolutely like to redeploy.
Alright, redeploy some units. Cowardice! Sure. Alright. He will move some dudes and we will do some shooting. Space Wolves, turn 1.
So turn one went about as well as I could have hoped for. I got first turn. My drop pod was able to come in, and between that and a dreadnought, we were able to kill the dread. We killed a bike, killed an Invicta warsuit, tagged the contemptor, killed a bunch of infantry. But we are in range of everything. So Calgar is on a crusade. He is about to show us what's what. Matt, so that is the end of turn one. How did it go?
About as well as I expected after the turn one hammering. You know, came back with all I got, trying to reestablish myself on the board here. Really just trying to stabilize as much as I can. So I think I've got myself back in a position. You being out of command points is a huge boon in my favor because you can't go hot anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's just a matter of riding the storm as long as I can.
Yeah. So you were able to re-secure this flank, which was good. The vanguards didn't hold up, which I think would have been a problem if they had.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. I was able to move block with this drop pod. You've touched it. It's gonna. So actually, we're move blocking each other, which is quite interesting. But there's some ways around that. And yeah, I was able to keep you off Strangle, and I was able to keep you off of Oath, which I think is going to be quite big because it's going to be quite a tight game. Even I think you're going to get back into this. Definitely, you're a fantastic player. So it's just going to be can I make those points really hurt you? So we'll find out. I am out of command points. Well, I get one. I get one. I get a whole one. So here we go. Space Wolves turn 2. Matt, that's the end of the game. It ended 100 to 67 to the Space Wolves. My turn one was quite crippling.
Yeah, it was a hard alpha strike, and I think a lot of the dynamics.
It's very loud all of a sudden.
It's quite loud.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
There you go.
So a lot of the dynamics of this matchup come down to who gets the first turn right. It's like, I want to get in with the Invictors, come up your line, alpha strike you, attrition you.
Yeah.
You want to pick up a Dreadnought first turn because then I'm on the back foot the whole game on tempo.
Yeah.
And I think really that's what the game came down to, was just we both committed to the same game plan because we had very similar functioning armies.
Massively.
You got the first turn and you just got ahead on tempo and the game just started progressively snowballing in your favor.
Yeah, I was able, the way our terrain was set up, I was able to use my drop pod as just a barrier to stop you getting into that middle objective, which meant that I didn't have to put as much on there to control it, and then I was able to just mess around with other ones to stop you scoring Strangle, which was rough. I got lucky on some charges, like with the Vanguard vets in turn one, and then they probably overperformed because they had no rerolls, but they were able to pick up an Invicta Warsuit, which made that side of that line a little bit harder, and then, it forced certain issues over there. You played fantastically. There were so Max turn 2, you left the drop pod, and I thought, oh, it's a massive mistake, you're not coming into the middle, but actually you almost made it so I had nothing left, but 2 4-man units of Vanguard veterans in the Assault Doctrines with one having Chapter Master, plus 1 to wound. That once I got the second dread, that was enough.
That was the game right there. Absolutely.
You undenied for a while one should you have overwatched, and I think you should have.
Overwatched where?
The one of the units of Vanguards. Oh, but it wasn't the Chapter Master ones actually. No, that was.
And I wanted to save the CP to interrupt, and so I had that kind of choice to make.
Because if you had lived on a wound, which was really close, like I think you were mathematically very close. You needed like 1-5 above the odds, and then you would have lived. So that just meant that you would have been able to kill the Vanguards and live, and then that would have been if I have no Vanguard veterans, it gets rough. Company veterans, they're stupid.
Honestly, I'm at the point where I'm tempted just to drop a Whirlwind in my list. It offers some good utility for Space Marines. You have the Fight Last strat, and that non-line of sight shooting, especially in the Devastator Doctrine, being able to punk something out of line of sight and solve problems like company vets or backfield objectives like servitors, stuff like that.
Yeah, because they just, for those who know, I'm going to quickly spin around so you can see. So as Matt was sort of like, I had this little alcove just here, and my company vets sat being unable to be shot the entire game, and then within 3 inches I put all of my characters which obviously I have heroic interventions and a 6-inch heroic on them, fight last, which just meant that, you know, it just made that objective really rough. Matt has a wonderful, wonderful army, and he's committed. It's not like my purple, they are whatever's good at the moment. You've committed to Ultramarines, and I commend you for that.
Thank you.
Matt, absolutely wonderful game.
Fantastic.
Great guy. So yeah, that's that. This is Lee. Lee is playing some lovely Necrons. Lee, it'd be good for you to know that I have a really bad record against Necrons. I've beaten them once in 9th edition so far, and I don't like my odds here. Loads and loads of Wraiths, and you get to go first now. Feeling good?
Early confidence. Getting first turn makes a big difference with army. So.
Cool. Well, good luck to you. Enjoy your first turn.
Thank you.
Do not let your eyes deceive you. This is not turn 3. This is turn 1. Lee had spit all the Necrons into my face. It's looking good, Lee. So, yeah, this is going into Necron's turn 2. And, yeah, it looks like Lee's got it. I just wasn't able to get enough done. He was really clever, tagged everything. Space Wolves are not as good if you're not on the charge. And the bane of my actual Warhammer world life, I cannot kill Lich Guard. I always struggle against them. I might be adding Wraiths to that list. And I'm also going to add Lee to that list, I think, of things that have got my number. At this point, it looks like it's just going to be score as many points as possible and get a decent place finish. That is the end of round 3. You'll notice that Lee has a little bit... it was what we thought it was going to be. Lee can't take anything away from him. You can't say, oh, just because you went first. It wasn't that at all. Just played really well. Set himself up with an arm, I think, an army that didn't care if you went first or second massively, but when you went first, you were able to just stop people doing anything they want to do, and that's what happened here. You went first, tagged everything, and Space Wolves aren't as good if they're not charging. I was getting heroic interventions off, and Lich Guard's just not caring.
4-up in run is incredible, as you know.
As I very well know, but when all my damage 3 weapons, he was making his, and then all my little chip damage was getting through. I wish it was the other way around, but can't moan. I've had a good day on that, people not making their saves. You just took over the board, just really easily.
It helps with turn 1 as well, doesn't it?
It does. But thinking about it, if I had gone first, I would have moved forwards, maybe done some shooting, but the same thing would have happened.
Yeah, I'd have probably got more units in first turn. Being able to block your shooting though and avoiding your drop pod is good.
That's pretty good. My drop pod, so the curse of the Long Fangs was back, and they did nothing. They killed one guy that didn't have an invulnerable save. We won't talk about it. But that is, we're pretty sure, because we were first and seconds. You beat me with a 90+ score. Yeah. So Lee, that is a win.
Good win. Really good win.
So I don't mind losing to the winner. It's going to be what it is going to be. Just why all the Wraiths? Why not the Silent King? Or I know you played Yukari as well. Yeah. Why this list? It obviously worked.
I've been playing the Wraiths since they first came out 3 seasons ago, season 5, and I've brought them back out with a 4-up in bar. Now they've got core, makes them all much better. And I bought Lich Guard a while back, and they just do the clearing up, and the Wraiths just hold things up. The Lich Guard need a bit of buffer. If they don't have the buffer for the charge, then they suffer the speed. With the Veil of Darkness always helps. So yeah, the Wraiths just do the hold up, allowing the big guns to come in and do the real damage.
Yeah.
But in this case, the Wraiths actually didn't work. So.
They did. It was quite funny. You tagged my Relic Contemptor, and immediately was like, well, this is a mistake. Yeah. You just sat in combat with it, and I actually killed more of your guys, but it was funny. It was a really good game. It was, competitive. It was make sure things are right.
Yeah.
But Lee is a great guy, and that was exactly what you want a final to be.
Yeah, you do.
Competitive, but it was. I still enjoyed the game.
Yeah. One of them games, Marines are always good to play against because you like to think you know what they're doing. But in this instance, there was a few instances where I didn't know some of the rules, interactions, the fact that you had Fiona playing on the floor. It's just, you do get you should have known that, given it's a Marine player,
But you can get a little bit tricky with Space Wolves.
You can.
They just have so many rules as well. They do everything they need to do. But no, thank you for that.
thank you for the game.
Enjoy your win.
Well, let's see how it goes.
Oh, he's won. He knows it. This is Andy. Andy was the organiser for today, which was a really good event. I came 5th in the end, lost in the finals. Andy didn't sweeten the pot and make it, so I had an easier match. So that was a bit rough. I'm not going to hold it against you. Does this big old boy have a name?
No, he doesn't. And although he looks pretty, he doesn't talk much, so it's still lonely during the days. But no, he doesn't.
That is spectacular.
Yeah.
So Andy,
Yes.
you run quite a few events here at 40K. Very nice. The 40K store, you obviously run a few events.
Yes.
The first one I've been to. I will be coming back for more.
That's lovely.
I know, it was absolutely lovely. How did you get into this? How did this all start for you?
Oh God. Well, I'm quite old now, so quite a long time ago. I think you have to just go back to GW, and I think I used to go to a veterans night there. They did that for a little while, and then I ended up going to a local club that we had, but it was not very good. And I like building terrain and scenery, so it just all started from that. So a lot of things happened and fell in sequence, so I was just very lucky that things came along at the right time.
Wonderful. Talking terrain, that's
Yes.
going to be the big thing. Oh, look at it. He's already looking away. So, if you think competitive, well, if a lot of people think competitive, they think ITC, regulation terrain, very script like the LGT does. No knocks on them, but you take a very different approach in how you do terrain.
Yes, we definitely do. I'm constantly having debates, but I think it's a big thing. In the scene at the minute, I think terrain is a massive thing because the game's changed. So it's gone from 7th to 8th, and 7th and 8th was like, we don't shoot many guns, and now all of a sudden we shoot loads of guns. The terrain was absolutely diabolical in 8th because you could just literally shoot and nobody got anything. Obviously, they've fixed it for 9th, so the traits are really, really good. But what the traits do is they allow people like us to create great boards and just put the traits on the terrain. But unfortunately, with the competition growing as great as it has, and it's a good thing for it to grow because it makes the hobby really, really good. But unfortunately, it then makes the expectations different. So what we're seeing now is people that are competitive have an expectation for terrain. And it's to be this balanced format, it's to be this kind of LGT style terrain. And I think there's just a lot of people that are not always, I think there's two fronts. There's competitive players that want it because it's balanced, and there's people that are not necessarily as competitive that want it because it's more thematic and it's more about playing the scenario and the scene rather than actually playing this standardized kind of balanced board.
Yeah. It kind of came up in my game too when I was on the top table. We had you come over. There was a big piece of terrain. We had to slightly move where some things are.
Yes.
And because it wasn't. I'm not going to say it wasn't balanced because I think it was, but because it wasn't symmetrical, I think is the word I want to use. It meant that because I went first, I was able to stop my opponent from ever getting to the middle using screening and drop pods and all of these things. I actually don't. Initially, I would have probably said like that's a big problem, but it makes for more interesting games, and it makes for, at least I think, games that have more of the spirit of 40k, where it isn't just like, hey, I've math hammered out exactly what terrain I need, and I've math hammered out exactly how I need to move, so armies that don't interact with your opponent get to not even interact with the missions. So for those, I don't know if I said at the beginning, the missions were random. We didn't even know when we turned up at the beginning of the day. Every time we had a vote at the beginning of the day if we were allowed to have the scouring. 55% wanted to have it. It never came up, but that was how the day started, which I knew I was in for a winner. And then every mission you came up, you were like, hey, this is the mission. you're playing number 23 or 31, and then go. It made people think really, really differently about what they were going to do.
I think for me, that's the thing. So it's not about, like you said, it's not about having that math hammer. It's not about tournament players want to know, and this is no dig about tournament players because there's different people that want different things. Tournament players want the terrain standardised because they don't necessarily, like you said, they put their people down, their armies down in the same place all the time. So it's purely about then how strong their army is or how their army is designed. But what it's doing is it's making the game, like I said, you're playing 5 games or 3 games on the same board. So we just want to offer something different because it is more challenging, and you do have to think about the terrain and how you interact with the terrain.
Yeah, and I also
that's
think,
done on purpose.
And I like it, and I think that it also brings. I have a friend, Thomas, who came to an LGT terrain event, and he didn't like the terrain, and he was like, "This isn't what I think 40k is meant to be." Whereas I think an event like this, it's that kind of. Yeah, it's competitive, and yeah, you're bringing tooled up armies, but it's still got a bit of randomness. And the game is, you can't. This game isn't millimeter perfect. It isn't designed for competitive play. So we're making the best of what we can.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Thank you.
My opinion means fuck all.
Well, no. To be fair, it does mean something because it comes up all the time, and it's getting more and more. I'm not going to say a contentious issue. I think it's there's tournament players and there's casual players, and it's just finding the right balance.
Yeah. I liked also one of the things here. I'm going to swap arms because my arm is dying. There we go. One of the things is the top 3 tables looked slightly more like LGT terrain.
Yes.
So, like, the further you went, the more kind of regimented it got, and I like that. And as well, because that also means that finals game that you get to play with someone, that does come down to a bit more of like, how do we know the game or how do we know the competing? But the person that's lost 2 games or has gone win-loss or loss-win can still play on a really thematic board, and they're like, hey, I'm fighting in some like Imperial city.
Yes.
And I think, I can see the arguments where people might find it contentious. They just need to have, I think, a little bit more imagination.
I don't want to say
I'm gonna be contentious and say, if you can't enjoy the game because there's different terrain, then you shouldn't be playing Warhammer.
Yeah, I think definitely the thematic. For me, the thematics are really important because I buy these sci-fi figures because I like to imagine I'm there playing, really shooting Tyranids as they jump on my skull and shoot my head.
If you want a super realistic thing, go play World of Tanks and I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually don't know, and that's the only other game that I know, and it's not even called World of Tanks, is it? It's called like Flames of War.
Flames of War.
There you go.
World of Tanks could be. Yeah.
But anyway, thank you so much.
No worries at all.
Beautiful. Thank you very much.
So that's the end of the event. I am now back in my car, just about to set off to go home. Not too bad. That was a really fun day. That was one of the better tournaments I think I've been to. Everyone was nice. I came here by myself. Franco was meant to be here with me, but couldn't today. And, we all play this hobby. We all have this thing in common where you can start a conversation with someone really easily by just turning around to them and saying, hey, what are you playing? Or, hey, how did your last round go? I think in a hobby where it's kind of got this, other people look at it and think, oh look, just a bunch of geeks, or oh look, staying in a room playing with toy soldiers. Yeah, we are, and it's really fun, and it means that we have this really cool community. In my last game, I just got beat in deployment. I made some mistakes. I frontlined loads of stuff. His race was so quick and just tagged a bunch of things. And I played quite well, and the problem I had was I was never really aggressive. I was always dealing with what was in front of me, in my face. That was the whole point of his list. Put 3 units of wraiths on top of you turn 1. And it just meant that he got to sit and score points and I couldn't stop him. And I was just trying not to die. It was fine. Lesson learned. The list is great. the more I play with the drop pod, the less I think one of the Redemptors may be necessary. I don't know what I'd change for it though. There's going to be a chapter approved in like 2 weeks as of this recording. So in 2 weeks from this, there's a chapter approved. This is the last tournament I will get to play. I would put strong money on the Relic Contemptor Twin Volkite being points increased by at least 5 to 10%, which means that might not be viable anymore. I think Vanguard Veterans might go up, so that's really interesting. My other army is Tau, and we know a book is coming, so I've just got to hold out. Yes, I apologise, my other book is Tau. But, yeah, good day in the end. Really nice people. Subscribe. I'm still a geek. I hope you are too. And go support your local game store, especially 40K if that's your local store. Bye.